In my last video, you saw how to spin or get spinning on a PaulyWinder, and now I'm going to try some more fibers and fine tune it. So far it's going well. Art Bat was super easy. The locks were a little bit dense and textured. They would come off the fulcrum peg because of the physics of how dense they are. This is about the maximum bulkiness that this tool can allow, and now we're going to try some flax. Anytime you transition from one fiber to another fiber, especially if your previous fiber is bulky, you will probably need to hand wind it on. Okay, so let's get going with our hand dyed hemp. Hemp is a little bit wiry. It holds a lot of memory. It's very different than wool, so it's very easy for it to gather a lot of twist and kind of twist up on itself and create little drag sections where it loops on things. So I'm going to slow down and up my tension so it pulls on and see if that goes better. I am not an expert on spinning hemp, so thank you for your patience. There's probably a lot of people that have a lot more skills, tips, and tricks for spinning this kind of fiber, but I'm curious to see what it looks like and if the PaulyWinder can handle it. So far I like it. Now I can see that I'm getting kind of a cone shape. It's not much fiber here and it's kind of building up here. In order to help this fulcrum not kind of get stuck in this, here we are going to adjust the fulcrum screw, this little screw right here. I am going to twist it to the right just a tick, about a half turn. That screw is going to push this fulcrum peg back just a bit in order to encourage it to fill in this space here. Now, if the fulcrum, if I noticed that the cone was heavy in the back and light in the front, at this point I would take this screw and twist it out about half a screw length so that I would bring the fulcrum peg back toward me, kind of pushing the peg back toward me so that it would be encouraged to fill the empty space in the front of the bobbin. So this screw is your fine-tuning point to help this peg find its natural center. When you get the PaulyWinder, it will be balanced center automatically, but based on the yarn you're spinning, it might not know what to do intuitively. And so you got to help it along by adjusting that screw. So let's keep going. I'm also going to take one of these gates and push this yarn to the back to help motivate it to fill in that back space. you can see the adjustment of the screw and the gates are helping the yarn fill in this back space. That's exactly what we want. Well, that was really fun. I've never spun hemp before, and I like the little eyelash texture that I was able to create as I played around with it. Not the traditional way to spin hemp, but I think that's really fun. So I'm going to grab another art bat and quickly fill up this bobbin and see if there's any more troubleshooting I can show you guys. I'm going to open these gates back up now that my bobbin looks even and keep going. I've got a lot of extra twist in here, and every time I try to push it in, it gums up around the hook. Bulky yarn problems. This is also a very wiry, almost mohair, so I'm probably over twisting it, which is fine because I'll apply this later and that'll keep my ply really tight and smooth looking. But it is normal to hand wind on when you're spinning bulky on this device. Lost my hook. I can tell that my PaulyWinder is really liking this front corner, so I'm going to use the gate to bump it out to the back again. It filled in a lot here, and it's coming back and forth. I think I'm going to use one of my gates just at this middle point to help this fill up. There we go. So I'm ready to take a break and get myself a cup of tea. But here's what it looks like. And I could throw another couple art bats on there, adjust the fulcrum screw if I notice that it's kind of being top heavy or back heavy. But that is a tutorial on how to use the PaulyWinder, how to spin textured yarn on a PaulyWinder. There's a lot more fussing with that because the amount of bulk and texture that we had going on. So if you're spinning fine or traditional yarns, you will have much less fine tuning. I'm kind of taking this tool to its max to show you what it's possible to do with. Thank you so much for watching, and happy spinning.